Now you have Romero versus Ismael Barroso, possibly the worst stoppage in boxing history. There's different ways to define a bad stoppage. You got Chavez versus Taylor, which is a bad stoppage for a specific reason. But then you have this fight. Now in this fight, neither fighter was taking a huge amount of punishment. There was no danger. The fight seemed to be stopped literally out of thin air. Referee Tony Weeks somehow became a magician and out of thin air just stopped this fight. Let's break it down. So the fight starts off, and Barroso's immediately coming at Rolly and doing the 1-2, but throwing that straight left, shooting Rolly right to the body. So now he does that because he stays low. It's a long shot. He's taller than Rolly, so it keeps him out of range of getting countered, keeping his distance from Rolly. And he's doing this, and he's also allowing Rolly to feel his power, which Rolly immediately feels because you see Rolly backing up. And Barroso starts coming hard, knowing that Rolly's tasted that power. Here you see Barroso using that southpaw stance to his advantage. When Rolly comes at him, he spins, right? And as a southpaw, he's able to spin to his right, which gets him right out of the way of Rolly's shots. Now, as the fight continues, you see Barroso's power starts making Rolly very nervous. Rolly is backing up and clearly very cautious. Now here, Barroso's power finally gets to Rolly. He has Rolly backing up from his power like he has throughout the rest. And as he's backing him up into the ropes, Barroso comes and drops him. So the knockdown was actually caused by Barroso coming in, throwing his usual jab, and then he kind of feints a right hand down to the body to get Rolly's hands down, and comes straight up with a left straight punch because he knows Rolly's leaning back and trying to protect his body down here. Beautifully timed, and that power just put a cherry on top and dropped him. Now, as the fight continues, it's just more of the same. Barroso's coming in with the 1-2s to the body, 1-2s up top, throwing hard shots, and keeping Rolly away from him. And again, range, and distance. This fight's all about that. That's why Barroso is having success. He's keeping his range, and of course it's that crushing power that he has. And again, Barroso is not only being aggressive, but he's also waiting and doing great counter punching. So he's pulling the trigger the second he sees Rolly fire a shot, because he knows he's going to catch Rolly coming in, and he knows that his power is definitely the more devastating of the two, and it's going to have Rolly backing up and thinking 3, 4, 5 times about what he's doing. And again here, I mean, it's like a broken record. It's the same thing. Rolly is keeping too far of a distance, which is falling right into Barroso's range, and he's extremely cautious of getting hit with those power shots. At this point, Barroso is well ahead on the scorecards. And Barroso, again, he's circling, keeps banging the body, which I think is wearing Rolly down, and it's also serving as a great distraction, because as he bangs the body, when he comes up top, it throws Rolly off guard, because Rolly's not expecting it. So he's worn down, slowed down, and he's more susceptible for those powerful bomb headshots. So now, as the fight goes on after the knockdown, you see Rolly realizes that the power's too much, so he's trying to box Barroso. But Barroso is taller and longer, and Barroso is keeping Rolly really at his range, and Rolly's unable to kind of box him because Barroso's smart and rangy. Now, Barroso is starting to figure Rolly out and time him. So Barroso is letting Rolly throw and throwing back at the exact same time. And he's willing to do that exchange because he knows he hits harder. And he's catching Rolly every single time. So here you see Barroso actually lets Rolly land one of his lead hooks so he can fire back with his straight left, because he knows that his straight left is harder. And he knows that he's the one who's going to do damage. In a way, he's baiting Rolly, because Rolly's being so gun shy. He's baiting Rolly like, look, you could hit me. Come on, try. Because he knows what he comes back with could end the night. So now we go into what begins to be part of the whole fiasco of this fight and the bad referee. So first, Rolly actually takes a power shot, but then he gets Barroso in the corner, he throws a barrage of shots, lands a couple, but then clearly with his right forearm, pushes Barroso down to the floor. Not a knockdown at all, but in one of a few events of the night, bad judgment calls by Tony Weeks. He begins counting, calls it a knockdown. Now, Barroso is up and totally fine, right? And then they continue fighting. And here there's even another instance where Barroso gets pushed down again. Now, those of you who haven't boxed don't realize, but getting thrown to the push down, especially behind the head like that, and getting all that takes a lot out of you. Now we go into the biggest controversial point of this fight. Not even really, I wouldn't even use the word controversy, because that implies that there's another side and people see it two different ways and it's up for debate. There's no debate. Now we go into what the referee did very wrong, and we don't know why, but we'll get into that. He gets Barroso in the corner, and as he comes in, he actually gets cracked a few times. Rolly lands kind of one push punch to the chest/chin after Rolly gets hit with 2 or 3 clean shots, and Tony Weeks, as you see here, jumps in and stops the fight. And Rolly's jumping on top of the ring, top of the ropes, like he did something, which is a whole different story. You know, maybe he didn't realize, but here you see in the replay, again, boom, Rolly gets clipped with a very hard shot. He kind of lands a push punch, pushes him in the shoulder. Barroso lands another hard shot. Rolly grabs Barroso, and Tony Weeks jumps in. So Tony Weeks just jumped in after Rolly landed no clean punches, one push to the shoulder, but got clipped with 2 hard shots. And Tony Weeks stops the fight. I'm just, even watching it again, I'm dumbfounded. A lot of questions come up with this fight. I mean, the main question, why did Tony Weeks stop the fight? A lot of theories. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, but it's hard not to have your mind go to, like, this has to be somehow set up. Somebody must have gone to Tony Weeks and told him, look, if there's a chance, if there's an occasion in this fight where you can stop it, you should. But there turned out to be no occasions. Some people thought Tyson versus Razor Ruddock was similar. Second Tyson had Ruddock a little hurt. They thought that Don King told Richard Steele, stop it. This wasn't even an occasion where anybody was hurt. He just jumped in and stopped it when the other guy got hit twice. I've never seen a fight stopped when the other guy gets clocked with 2 hard shots and they stop him. They stop the one who threw the shots. So, was it Showtime? Was it Rolly's promoters? Because a lot of people think a huge money fight, Rolly versus Ryan Garcia, was looming next. And if he loses to Barroso, that's scrapped. Weirdly enough, right after the fight, the Nevada State Athletic Commission and Tony Weeks, both unavailable for comment. They did not want to talk to anybody. And to this day, I haven't seen Tony Weeks talk to anybody. I actually have his number. I reached out to him. He didn't respond to me. Nevada Athletic Commission, nothing. I think they're trying to appeal it. I don't know if you guys know this, but in boxing, there's been so few successful appeals. Ridiculous. What should happen is it should be ruled a no contest, and an automatic rematch be ordered to happen immediately. Next fight for both guys, and a no contest. That's what should happen. But it didn't. You know, this brings a lot of other questions. I think they should have 3 other referees that are outside, sitting around, that they go to right away, almost like an instant replay, or that they can override a ref's decision. They should have 3 others, or at least 1 or 2 others sitting outside, that they go to with the power to override after a replay, you know, a checks and balances, make it a democracy. You know, have 3 refs, 2 sitting outside watching, 1 in there, and then all 3 vote, and let's say 2 of the 3, let's say the other 2 are like, no, Tony, we shouldn't have stopped that. Then boom, it's a no contest. Or boom, they continue fighting. Because if that's a split decision call made right there and then, on the spot, like, no, that stoppage is unfounded. Guys, fight. Then they wouldn't have. And everybody doesn't jump in the ring. They don't take their gloves off. They keep going. Because people work real hard to get to that one moment in a fight. So it's very precious. The time is very precious, and those moments are very precious, and you can't get them back. So on-the-spot judgments are very important in boxing. So maybe that's something that we could take out of this. To the question of why the fight was stopped, I don't see what other explanation. Even in Tony Weeks' face, if you see here, he kind of looks away like very blank, like not looking at anybody, not looking at the fighter. Like, generally they look at the fighter, you okay? They grab him, it's okay. They take the mouthpiece out. He just goes, no. A very blank, guilty kind of look. And I don't know if we'll ever know, but it's a horrible thing. I don't know if Rolly knew about it. I don't blame him because I don't think he did. But it's definitely a huge black eye in boxing. That, along with some of the other the judging that's been happening lately, like when Ryan Garcia fought Tank, Ryan gets dropped, and yet one of the judges scored that a 10-10 round. That's illegal. 10-10 round is impossible if somebody gets dropped. If somebody gets dropped, it's a 10-8 round by law. The rules of every athletic state commission by the 10-point system state that. In some rare cases, if the person is getting dominated who gets dropped, they could do a 10-9 round. But it's never a 10-10. So why is there nobody, like I was talking to you about, another referee or another judge, checks and balances, who's sitting out there, another appointed official, that they can go and override it? Say, nope, that's not a 10-8 round. That can't be. You have to change it right now and then. We just saw another fight last night, by the way. It was an exhibition, but it was Gotti Jr. versus Floyd Mayweather, where a referee made another back call. He stops a fight for excessive shit-talking. Now, I'm going to get into that separately. Like, referees should not be the final word. There should be somebody checking them and balancing them out. Because fighters put their blood, sweat, and tears and put their lives on the line for this. And it's not fair to rob them and the fans of that precious moment in boxing.